I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
best. Nobody's wearing Easter hats anymore. Do people not do that anymore? They blow away. Yeah, they'd probably blow away here, wouldn't they? Oh. Well, I think we need to get prayed in. What do you think? So if I can find a chaplain. Oh, here's one right here. It's Christine. Should we have Christine pray us in this morning? Oh, you can use this mic. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you for the lilies. Yes, they're beautiful.
So we go to that quiet place within and feel the gratitude that expands around us. The light that is here now, so easily, palpably present, infiltrates every cell of our body temple and every aspect of this divine service. As we rise up in to the truth and the deep remembering of what this day is about and who we are and our relationship to it, we are taken to even fuller levels of this divine love. And for this day and for this service, I am so grateful. And so we let it be as it will be, magnificent in every way. And so it is. Amen.
So it is. Thank you, Christine. And now I'd like to invite our daily wood our daily wood reader. Are you going to weed the daily wood?
I'm going to weed the daily wood.
Okay, this is Joy. Thank you, Joy. You're speaking to like Joy. Oh yeah, get the right one. Let's move from Palm Sunday to Easter Sunday.
This is a great word. Arise.
We need you to be on mic.
Arise is our word for today. I rise to accept new life and renewal. Jesus rose above all limitations, transcending darkness to light and death to new life. His overcoming death is the ultimate inspiration and example for humankind, a precious gift of hope and renewal. This Easter, I gratefully accept my renewal as I awaken to the call of the divine. I turn to the Christ presence within me and discover new life and energy, lifting me into higher awareness and understanding of spiritual truth. In so doing, I leave behind that which held me in bondage. I rise above limiting beliefs, habits, and actions. With unwavering faith, I rise to accept inspiring new possibilities and the fullness of God's glorious life, love, and grace. And the scripture is from 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 3. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. By his great mercy, he has given us a new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. Amen.
Podium is good.
We're going to sing. We'd like to invite you all to. Hi, everyone. Come on up, Joyce. All right. The choir would like to lead us all in an old favorite hymn, and we'll welcome you to sing along. No, she's good. There we go.
I behold the Christ in you. Hear the life of God I see. I can see a great peace too. I can see you whole and free. I behold the Christ in you. I can see this as you are.
behold God's love expressed. I can see you filled with power. I can see you ever blessed. See God's life you hour by hour. I behold the Christ in you. I can see that perfect one. Then my God, in all you do, I can see God's work is done.
Let's hear it for our band and our choir. Let's hear it for our music director, Robin, huh? Well, 3 men died and went sort of to heaven. They're standing in front of St. Peter at the pearly gates. And St. Peter says, now, in order to get into heaven, I just need you to tell me what Easter means. And the first man says, oh, Easter, that's easy. Easter is that time we get together and we make a big turkey. And we give thanks for all the great things in our life. And St. Peter's like, oh, no. You're out of here. Yeah, I don't know where he went, but he didn't get in. So the second man says, oh, okay, what Easter is? Well, Easter is, it's the day that we celebrate Jesus' birth, right? And we all get together and we exchange presents. And St. Peter's like, no, you're out of here. So the third man says, Easter. I know what Easter is. Easter is the day that it's a Christian holiday, right, that coincides with the Jewish festival of Passover. And Jesus and all his disciples got together and they celebrated Passover. And then Judas betrayed Jesus and the Romans arrested Jesus and they crucified him and they put him in a tomb. And St. Peter says, yes, that's right. And then what happened? And the man says, well, every year the Jewish people come and they roll the stone away. And Jesus comes out. And if he sees his shadow, it's going to be winter for 6 more weeks. Isn't that the way it goes? So today, I arise and awaken to my true essence. So that's what we're talking about today. How can we arise and become our true essence? And I ask you, what does the resurrection mean to you? Is it just some holiday that we celebrate that's fun to get together? Or does it actually have some deeper meaning? Was Jesus just doing this resurrection for himself? Or is there something that has meaning for us in this 2,000-year-old celebration that we have? I like this idea from 1 Kings chapter 19. It says, and there were great winds, so strong, splitting mountains and breaking rocks into pieces before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, the sound of silence. When Elijah heard this, he wrapped his face in his shroud and he stood at the cave entrance. And there came a voice to him that said, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" I love that. What are you doing here, Elijah? So my question for you is, what are you doing here this Easter? Is it just another day? Is it a fun day to come to Unity and listen to music and to sing? Or does it have deeper meaning for you? What are you doing here? What are you doing here in this life that you have? You know, Easter is a miraculous event. It's a demonstration of how we can overcome obstacles in the same way that Jesus did. Easter teaches us to rise above the obstacles, the challenges, the difficulties in our life. Easter teaches us a process of transformation. And we're going to look at that transformation process today. And I hope that you'll have an experience of realization, of transformation in this process. You know, Jesus' whole ministry was about the resurrection. It was about transformation. Everything that happened to him, everything he taught was about transformation. And that's what I love about Unity. And the way we see this is because we take all the practical examples that Jesus gave us, and we use that as tools for transformation. So Jesus taught a number of ways of transformation. You might remember he was able to raise his friend Lazarus from the dead, right? And Easter really is about raising something up, something that appears to be dead, and bringing it into the light. Jesus also healed a woman who had hemorrhages for 12 years. Remember that story? Right? And she reached out, she touched his gown, and she was healed of these hemorrhages. So what happened here, what died here, was the idea of sickness and into the idea of healing. And in the same way, the story of the prodigal son, right? The prodigal son was having kind of a difficult time, right? He took his inheritance, and what did he do with it? He blew it all, didn't he? And it was said that he found himself eating with the pigs. But he did have a resurrection moment, and he went back to his father. And his father said, "My son who was dead is now alive." And of course, there's the story of Jesus feeding the loaves and the fishes. And this story is about bringing forward the idea of prosperity into what seems like lack. So it's dying to lack and rising up in prosperity. So all these stories are about you. They're about me. We get to be challenged with the same opportunities that Jesus demonstrated, Jesus showed, and we get to come and rise up. Jesus said, "He who believes in me shall do the works that I do, and even better than these." I see that scripture a little bit different, right? He who believes in me, to me means he who exemplifies what I do, who lives the principles that I teach, can do the things that I can do. And the message that we're about today is, how do we apply these teachings to our lives so that we can rise above our challenges and the things that face us? Anybody want to do that? Does anybody have challenges in their lives? Right? Don't we? Isn't that a lot of what it means to be in these human bodies? We have challenges. So today we're going to look at what are some practical things that we can do to rise above the challenges in our lives. I think Easter teaches us 3 different things that we're going to look at today. And Easter, first of all, teaches us to die to the old, die to things that aren't working anymore, die to attitudes and beliefs that aren't working anymore in your life so that you can rise above them and be the fullest expression of who you are. Now, sometimes this causes a crucifixion. And a crucifixion is a time of pain, right? Anybody ever have any pain in their life? Any ever painful thoughts or painful feelings, right? When we have those feelings, it means it's time for a resurrection. It's time to change the way we're thinking, change the beliefs that we have, and to see something different so that we can rise above them. Lots of times it means changing our perspective, right? So that something new can be born in the place where there once was pain. A crucifixion is a time when we feel like something's not working. Ever said that? Man, this just isn't working, right? So instead of getting angry or upset, it's the time for us to look at it and go, okay, what is it that's not working? And how can I change my thoughts, my beliefs, my feelings so that I can step into it in a different way and I can literally rise above it? So I thought I'd give you a few different kinds of things that we can rise above. Because you might be going, well, yeah, okay, Rev, but okay, give me some examples. Okay, so here's some examples of things that we can let go of. One of them is letting go of control, right? Letting go of the thought or the belief that things have to go just the way you want. Anybody ever have that thought or that feeling? Right? Doggone it. If it doesn't happen the way I want it, I'm not going to be happy. Right? So we can change that around and say, you know what? It's not my favorite, but I can rise above it. I can be present to it. I can love in spite of it. The second one is to release past hurts. All of us probably have somebody in our lives that did something to us that hurt us. Anybody? A couple quick yeps on that one. So really, how can we move past the idea that we have to keep holding that grudge, right? There is some false power, we think, in holding that grudge. But the truth of it is, when we hold a grudge, who does it hurt? It hurts ourselves. It doesn't hurt that person. That person is off being oblivious, enjoying their life, while we're sitting at home behind this locked door that we're holding the door shut so our love doesn't get out, and the only person that we're hurting is ourselves. And another way that we can rise above is to shift from a scarcity consciousness to an abundance consciousness, right? To die to the idea that there isn't enough, right? Because we live in an abundant universe. And so by focusing on the abundance that we have and that is out there, we change our perspective and the universe responds in like kind. And another thing that we can do is overcome the fear of change, right? Oh, don't you just hate change? There's a part of us that does, right? It's like, I want everything to be the same all the time. I don't want my body to change. I don't want my partner to change. I don't want my life to change, my job to change. I want everything to be the same, right? Yeah. Well, you know what? Not on this universe. Not on this planet at this time. Things are different. We get to be flexible and change. You know, a caterpillar has to die to the idea of being a caterpillar before it can be a butterfly. So we have to die to fear. We have to die to thoughts of failure. We have to die to thoughts of unworthiness, to thoughts of drama, to judgments, to our attachments, to die to shame, die to regret, and all of the things that hold us back, right? Because all these things may have served us at some time, but there comes a point when we realize that this belief, this thought isn't serving me anymore. Because all of those things close our heart and don't allow us to be present in this moment. Often we would like to be born to something new, wouldn't we? Wouldn't you like to just be born to something new and not have to let go of anything? That would be great. But again, not on this planet, not on this time. In order for something to be born, something has to die. I love what Lao Tzu said. He said, we must let go of who we are to become who we are meant to be. Wow, we have to let go of who we are. Let go of what we are, who we are right now, so we can experience the fullness of what we can be. Breathe into that. To experience the fullness of who we are, of who you are. Something has to die. We have to let go of something. So maybe you've had ideas since we've been sitting here and talking about this. So what do you get to? I never use the word have to, right? Because you get to let go of so that you can experience your fullness. So that's the first thing. Die to the old. The second thing is to listen to the silence. You know, we live in such a busy world and we have such busy lives, and it's sometimes difficult to find silence, right? I find myself sometimes, if I'm sitting doing nothing, what do? Reach for my phone, right? Reach for my phone, it's not there. But we pull out our phone and look at it, right? And because we gotta keep thinking we're being busy all the time, because we get ingrained in this thought that we have to be doing something all of the time. Anybody? You know, the truth is that God is, Spirit is, wisdom is in the silence. So breathe into that. You know, when all the busyness, all the thoughts, all the stuff in our lives is happening, it's hard to hear the truth, right? It's hard to hear where Spirit is nudging us in the silence. I like what Rumi said. He said, there is a voice that doesn't use words. Listen. There is a voice that doesn't use words. And I think that perhaps that's a good way to distinguish between what the ego is saying, what the fear-based side of ourself is saying, and what Spirit is saying. Spirit is speaking as love, as a feeling, as a gentle nudge, a gentle knowingness. And then Rumi goes on to say, stop the words now. Open the window in the center of your chest and let the spirits fly in and out. Can you feel that? Right? Just stop the words. And just be part of that expression, that truth that is flowing in and out of you at the same time. Breathe into that. Feel that. That's where the truth is. That's where wisdom is. It's in the silence. You know, I think Jesus often went to the Mount of Olives, which looked down on Jerusalem. And this is where he often went to pray. I think it's interesting that so many teachers go to places on mountains, right? Because it's quiet. And I think it sends a signal to our higher self that we're there to pay attention, to listen in the silence. Many teachers also went to caves. Or in Jesus and the disciples met, where did they meet? Mary's house, we think, was where? In the upper room. The upper room, right? Because it signifies being in higher consciousness, to lift our awareness up. We are sending a signal to our spirit, to the universe, that I want to be in this upper room. I want to be on this mountain. I want to listen to the truth, to the essence that is. You know, God speaks to us in the silence. I love the phrase, be still and know that I am God. And my personal belief is that God is everywhere in the universe and that we have access to all this amazing information that we intellectually may not have. But if we're able to tune in and connect with the universe, we're able to listen, and we're also able to attract to us that which we desire to know. I love what Blaise Pascal said. He was a 17th century French mathematician, inventor, and a writer. And he said, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Wow, right? Can you imagine a world where our leaders sat in the silence? Where they sat in the silence and listened? It'd be a different world, wouldn't it? And this is the vision that I believe that we get to hold. And we practice this, right? As individuals, as leaders, however that shows up for you in your life, to spend that time in the silence and listen. Because that's where you learn to love. That's where we learn to be present. That's where we learn to just be open and relaxed and take life as it is, to love every moment, to be present to every moment. And the third thing that Easter teaches us is to roll back the stone and let your heart shine. Rolling away the stone is about releasing the stones in your life, right? It's about letting go of thoughts and feelings and things that don't serve you. You know them when they show up because they show up like this, right? As fear, as anger, as doubt, as lack. And you know them because they resonate with your system in a way that is a message to you saying, this isn't the way it's supposed to be, right? There's a much gentler path for you. There's a path of love. There's a path of releasing these thoughts, these feelings, these beliefs that don't serve you, that cause you to be anxious and fearful. I love the story of the prodigal son. Remember this? The prodigal son goes out and what does he do? He spends everything he has, right? And he had received an inheritance from his father, and he went out and spent it all and blew it all. And, you know, like I said earlier, the story goes that he ended up eating with the pigs. That doesn't sound so delicious to me. And the scripture says then he came to himself. That's what Easter is about, right? It's coming to yourself, coming to your true essence, knowing who you are, embracing who you are, loving who you are. At that moment, the prodigal son realized that he was living below the level that he was meant to live. Ever felt that way? It's like, ever catch yourself and going, oh my God, who was that showed up? Right? Who was that was speaking or yelling at the window or yelling at the car in front of me? Who is that? Right? Right? You know, the story says that something awakened in him. Something awakened in him. He woke up. He came to himself. Eckhart Tolle had a pretty rough time. You remember his story? How many of us read Eckhart Tolle's books? I have read them. Pretty much all of us at some point, right? As we know, he struggled with anxiety. He struggled with depression. He had frequent thoughts of suicide. And this happened until he was in his late 20s. And then one night, he tells the story about he's getting ready to go to bed and he's contemplating his life. And he says, I can't live with myself any longer. I can't live with myself any longer. And then he went to sleep. And the story goes on that he got up in the middle of the night, right? Because he had this, like the picture, like this dawning of this light. And he got up and he had said, I can't live with myself any longer. And he heard the question, who is the I? In this story, who is the I that can't live with myself any longer? And who is the self? And he realized that the I was the Spirit in him, was the love in him, was the God in him, was the Christ in him that said, I can't live like with you being this way. There's so much more for you. And the self was his thoughts, his beliefs, his feeling, his experience of being dissatisfied with his life. So the I in him, the Spirit was within him, was saying, wake up. Wake up to yourself. Breathe into that. So let's look a little deeper at these two stories. In the prodigal son hits the absolute bottom, right? He squanders his inheritance, and he's lost, and he's desperate, and he's alone. But then he came to himself. He had a moment of clarity, and he realized he didn't want to live with himself anymore. He didn't want to live with the anxiousness, the depression, the sadness. The higher part of him said, enough. Come to yourself. And that's what happened to Eckhart Tolle. On that night of his awakening, he too was in desperation, and he came to himself in a profound way. He saw through the illusion of his life and recognized his true identity and the truth of who he was. Just like the prodigal son, Eckhart Tolle came to himself. We too can come to ourselves to be the best that we can be. Jesus, through this time in his life, teaches us this lesson, demonstrates to us what we too can do, that we can have a homecoming, and that we can come to ourselves, to the truth of who we are. So I ask you, what in you is calling you to be awakened today? what in you doesn't feel quite right? What in you is sort of pushing at you, pulling at you, saying, come to yourself. Get rid of those thoughts of lack or doubt or unforgiveness. What is calling you to transform it on this Easter day? Maybe it's just about being more grateful for who you are, for all the love in your life, for all the talent you have, for all the blessings you have, for all the truth that you know. Easter is a celebration of what we call in unity the Christ self, which is our divine essence, the inner truth, the inner wisdom, the inner power, the inner love. And it's, Jesus' main message really was love. It's always about love. It's about letting go of anything less than that and embracing the fullness of love. Do you know that? It won't hurt. You can admit it. Or if it's not true for you, you can go, I don't know, Rev. Love? A lot of times we resist love because love is the biggest teacher. And we're always resurrecting and rising up to the fullest expression of love that we can embrace. So no matter how many times you've been knocked down, no matter how much you've struggled, no matter how far away you feel like you are from your dreams, I invite you to let the lesson of Easter teach you, to invite in your Christ essence, to invite yourself in to experience more of the fullness of that. I invite you to let go of the stones in your cave, right? Roll them away, right? Don't be pulled down by them. Push them aside. Move away, because this is Easter morning. This is your resurrection day. So go forth and be the light of the world. Live the example that Jesus lived in the resurrection story, because it is your story. The world needs you. Today, happy Easter. Today I rise and awaken to my true essence. Say that with me. Today I rise and awaken to my true essence. Let's say it again. And this time I invite you to engage some feeling in it, right? To feel it as you say it. Let's say it together. Today I arise and awaken to my true essence.
Start the day.
I invite you to close your eyes. And imagine that you are on a mountaintop. Imagine that you are overlooking the ocean, the mountains, the forest. Breathing in the fresh air. Breathing in and breathing out. And imagine that on the ground in front of you are some small rocks. Rocks that represent thoughts of doubt and fear, thoughts of lack and limitation. And don't worry, we're going to get rid of them. You don't want to focus on them too long, but just know that those things are there and maybe even identify one. Maybe it's some kind of stubbornness to not to be willing to change or not to be willing to forgive someone. Or some kind of resistance to being the fullness of who you are and all you are. And breathing in and breathing out. And imagine that you can scoot them aside with your hand, with a broom. Breathing in. And as you slide these stones away, you experience a lightness, a joy, peace. Breathing in and breathing out. Imagine that your heart is being filled with love. That you recognize that this is a moment of truth. A moment to embrace your true essence. Your God self, your Christ self, your higher self, your joyful self, your loving self. Breathing in. And in a moment, we're going to spend a short time in the silence. And I invite you during that time to invite in all the light, all the love, all the joy, all the peace, all the power, all the wisdom that is coming to you right now. As the universe says, here, this is yours. Take this. This is yours. Take this. Take this. In the silence. Breathing in, gently allowing the breath, experiencing the light, embracing it, feeling the love, feeling the truth of who you are, your true essence. Come to yourself. This is your resurrection. Breathing in, I invite you to gently become aware of the light in this room. As you open your eyes and share your light, your love, right now. And so it is. Namaste. Well, I invite you now to prepare your love offerings and your gifts to Unity on Maui. And I invite you to hold them with the sacredness of this amazing day of Easter, and to hold them and give them as your commitment to your own resurrection, to you connecting with the essence of who you are, coming home to yourself, coming home to the truth of who you are. And as we hold our gifts, let's pray and affirm our prosperity blessing, which begins. Let's say it together. Through a grateful, giving heart, my mind and life overflow with the abundance of God's all-providing, infinite supply. And so it is. Loving Spirit, thank you for these gifts that have come to us in love. We hold them, we bless them. We give thanks for them, knowing that they're moving through this ministry out into the world. And we behold a world that's filled with love, with light, with joy, and with peace. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you. All right, just a few announcements today. Christine brought these amazing flowers. And she's dedicating them to her mother and your grandmother. Yeah. What are their names? That's a tough question, I know. Mama and Grandma.
Grandma Nancy.
Okay, good for you.
Yes, and my mother's name is Sandy.
Oh, Sandy. You know, if I had to come up with my grandparents' names, I wouldn't know because I didn't know them. And so, but thank you, Christine, for that. And you can all bring flowers on Sunday morning. Don't bring them at the same time. But if you'd like to bring them on a particular Sunday, sign up in the back. And if you write down the Sunday you want and how you'd like them to be donated, we'd love to speak to that up here on Sunday morning. So thank you. And Christine, I'm going to call on you again. She's like, Adam was supposed to be here today. God bless him wherever he is. I know he's raising some kind of joy wherever he is. He was going to tell you about next week's talk, which features all of our prayer chaplains. And in his absence, I just nudged Christine a minute ago and said, hey, would you speak to what you guys are talking about next week? And even if you don't know, just make something up, right? All right, let's give Christine a hand.
So I trust that all the other chaplains know what they're going to be talking about next week, but I sure don't. So we have created a unique message for you guys called Prosperity Prayer Consciousness. And it will be Carol and Marlene and Patricia and Adam and myself, we're going to spend a few minutes, each of us, on this very powerful topic. And how much power do we have to create new results in our life, including prosperity and abundance? What old beliefs may be in the way, and how do we overcome or reprogram them? Every one of us has a unique perspective, what really is abundance, purpose, and success for you. And I trust that we'll be breathing some when I speak. So I hope you'll join us, please.
Right.
Next time.
Thank you, Christine. And we affirm that you'll be breathing as you speak also.
I'm going to rebirth the entire group.
Emily and I are going to Kauai tomorrow for a week. In the 12 years that I've been here, today it's 12 years. Thank you. Yeah, I thought it was 13, but Kealoha assured me earlier that I started in 2012. April 8th, 2012 was my first day here. And so I thought it was 13 years, but it's only 12. So, I get to breathe on that one, right? So anyway, I've only been to Kauai, I've been twice, but it's over 35 years ago. So we're going to go for a week and spend time with family. And so we won't be here next week, but I know you will, and the chaplains will, and they'll be breathing and praying with you and offer a tremendous service for you as well. And let's see, was there anything else that I needed to cover today?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Joy Singers. Thank you, band. Thank you, Blaine. It was really fun. It's been really fun. Thank you.
And thank you all for being here, and thank you for being so wonderful and parking down in the lot. Now we have an empty parking lot. There you go. We practiced today, so we were expecting the parking lot to be full, and the one down there probably is. So thank you for parking down there. I love you and appreciate you for helping us to make our parking easy, and our van will be driving around, taking you back to your cars as soon as we get them back from eBay. I think that was our fundraiser for today. So I love you. I bless you. Thank you very much. Why don't we stand and let's pray together the prayer for protection. But before you go, just let you know, if you enjoyed my talk today, my notes are on a piece of paper like this. I call it Walk Your Talk, and it summarizes everything I talked about today. So you can take this message home with you. All right. So for ourselves, for this ministry, for all life, let's pray together the prayer for protection, which begins, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us wherever we are. God is.
Where I live, they're all raised.